Welcome to the Wisepreneurs Project, where wisdom meets entrepreneurship. I'm Nigel Rawlins, and I provide down-to-earth practical advice to help people over 50, most often women, navigate the shift to independent professional work. I focus on providing you with actionable insights and expert advice to optimize your life and work, from highlighting productivity, health, and cognitive agility to mastering business, marketing, and knowledge management. I want to help you survive, grow, and thrive as an independent professional. Today's guest is Gill Andrews, a brilliant copywriter who's transformed how I view websites. Gill specialises in making websites work by highlighting common mistakes that could cost you clients and showing you how to fix them. With her clear, practical advice and great sense of humour, Gill shares insights on crafting compelling copy and creating a better user experience that will turn your website visitors into customers. I really enjoyed talking with Gill. She's an amazingly informative guest who'll give you plenty of actionable tips to improve your website copy. Welcome, Gill, to the Wisepreneurs podcast. Could you tell us something about what you do and where you're from?
Thanks. Happy to be here. I'm Gill Andrews, a conversion copywriter and website consultant. I'm based in Germany, but I work only with English-speaking clients. And if you've never heard about a conversion copywriter, we write copy, meaning marketing texts that are supposed to make your prospects do a certain thing. And I do this for websites, specifically for websites of service providers. Meaning, if you work with me, I will help you write text for your websites that generate more inquiries from new clients. And the website consultant part refers to my holistic approach to a website. While a usual copywriter will just, take your brief instructions for whatever text you need and write text and that will be it, I look at the website as a whole. I'm also like a user experience consultant, but this is a bit of a niche term. Not everybody understands what it means. So I chose to call myself website consultant, meaning whatever is wrong with your website, unless it's technical, except of the technical stuff, I will help you fix it. I also consult on usability and design and work with web designers of my clients to produce layouts that are optimized for new inquiries.
I decided after many years of building websites for clients, now I'm a marketing services company. So basically, I get the marketing done for my clients. So if they want a website, it's my job to help them do it. And only recently I thought maybe I need to relook at this. So I read lots of books on SEO, took courses on SEO, technical SEO as well. And then I came across your book, Making Your Website Work. And I read it and I thought, oh, gee. And I'm still coming to terms with it. And I'm still reading anything that you write on LinkedIn. And I go back to your books and some of your downloads. And I keep working through them and I'm going over my websites and some of my client websites. And I'm just going, you cut through all the jargon. It makes so much sense. So let's explain a little bit more. Let's start with who needs a website to start with, and then we'll go into what we mean by conversion. So does everybody need a website nowadays if you're in business?
Well, it depends. I would say a lot of people do, because this is the behavior of your prospects. You shouldn't ask yourself, do I need a website? But are the people who would be my ideal clients looking for products and services like mine online? If they do, you need to be present where your prospects are. And the way to do it best would be having a website, because relying on third-party platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram is not very safe, I would say, because algorithm changes, platforms change. Like Twitter, we saw so many advertisers, so many other personal brands or companies, they left Twitter because what happened to it, and they lost some of income, I can imagine. And website is an asset that is totally in your hand, is totally about you. Also, imagine if you are on the social network marketing there, you are one of the millions or maybe thousands of people who are in the feed of the prospects. It's not a place that's only about you. So the moment you get the prospect to your website, a place that's only about you, you have much better chance of converting them. You also know, okay, they're more interesting in me, just like compared to just scrolling, through a Facebook feed or whatever. So again, the answer to this question is, are your prospects looking for you online? If yes, you need a website.
Now, that's interesting what you just said there. It's not about you putting up a website. It's about your prospects. And I think that's the message I got through from your book and all your writings, that this is about them. It's not about us. So when you talk about being a website copywriter and talking about conversion, let's go into that a little bit more. I think in the past, we'd just assumed we'd put up a website, people would come and visit us and they would just buy from us. But is that the case?
No. The thing is that there are so many websites these days. Maybe at some point back in the day, it used to work where not many people had websites. But now it's like you can have hundreds of websites as a person. And it's like, it's also not super expensive. There are also like low cost versions of creating a website. So you're competing with so many other people. So you really need to make sure you stand out because your prospects also compare you to your competitors and they also have websites. Again, here one needs to think, okay, who are my competitors? Because your prospects are not shopping in a vacuum. It's one thing. On another side, of course, they're not comparing you to everybody in the world. So you have your own set of competitors. For some people, it's super hard because they're competing with many, many, many others. For others, it's less hard because they have a niche that is less crowded. They do something super specific, but you need to know in which part of this website universe you are operating. Okay. So yeah, but still you need to stand out. However, you won't be the only person. So you need to put a lot of thought into what's on your website and how it looks. And it's not that straightforward.
I think in the past, we always thought, okay, it's got to look nice. And lately we're realizing it's got to load fast. But the other thing is, you come to the homepage, if they come to the homepage, and then you've got to figure out, is this the right site for me? Is this going to help me? So how do they do that on your website?
Well, I mean, if they land on your homepage, the very first couple of lines need to establish relevancy and value. So in your banner, the very first lines on your homepage, it shouldn't say, welcome to my website. It also shouldn't say, best solutions for success, because it's like, what is this? It just needs to indicate that yes, whoever, let's say, we're searching for, in my case, copywriting services or somebody who helps them generate more inquiries. It says, I help you generate more inquiries in a nutshell. Of course, not like this. This is also probably not the best way, but this would be better than saying, welcome to my website or solutions for success. So remember, clarity, relevancy, and value, meaning I understand every word. It is relevant to my cause and it brings me value, like communicates benefits, for example. So these three things is a must for the first lines of your homepage.
That's fantastic, actually. Because the other issue, I think you wrote something the other day, is all about I, and it's not about I, it's about them. That made me change my one again. So what are some do's and don'ts apart from that first line when you come to the website, that is very clear about who it's for and what the offer is? But what are some other do's and don'ts that people do on a website that you've seen?
Oh, I've seen so many do's and don'ts. I get asked this question quite often. And my favorite answer is the biggest don't is that they do not understand what they are doing. They're not approaching it strategically. They just think, okay, I know this about my business and I'm just going to pour everything I think I need to say to my prospects on a website. And this is the wrong approach. The approach should be, what is the mental state of my prospects? How much do they know about their own problems and about the services that I offer and how, generally speaking, these particular services help them solve their problem? What are their expectations? What are their results that they would like to me help them achieve? What can be the objections? It is super important. What can prevent them from hiring me? So the very first part of even putting a first word on your website is sitting down and doing this kind of, I call it business soul searching. You already referenced my course. That's the part of every project I do, whether it's a website review or copywriting project. The very first thing is I send a big questionnaire to my clients, asking them all these questions to understand whether their website matches what their prospects would like to hear. And my question to the audience who are listening to this, have you ever done this? Because if you haven't, the chances are pretty high that whatever is on your website is not that what your prospects need to hear to send you an inquiry or buy from you. So this is the biggest, and what you can say, the meta, the biggest don't. This is the cause of all problems. The symptoms would be a lot of jargon, like solutions for success, a lot of self-centered copy, like we are proud to announce our philosophy, our mission. Nobody cares, especially, maybe if you are a charity, some kind of organization that helps people, yes. But if you are a soft developer or a marketing agency, your mission, not important. What else? Probably fake benefits. This is the one that you are praising something people do not care about. You do not understanding your selling points and value proposition. It's just I'm better, or my services are better, is not a value proposition or even a selling point, because everybody can say it. Your selling point is something that is relevant, prospects care about, is valuable, meaning, they would like to have it. And third, your competitors cannot replicate, or can replicate with it would be hard to replicate. Things like cheap, better can be replicated in a second, But okay, I don't want to discourage listeners. So what I also can tell you is that, especially for small and medium businesses, the copy I see on websites is really bad. So you do not have to be perfect. You just need to be clear, relevant, valuable, and what I haven't mentioned before, trustworthy. And trust is achieved by specificity, meaning when you're explaining and talking about what you offer, you don't say solutions for success. You say we build websites that not only look pretty, but also generate business. Now, this is specific. And trust is achieved by testimonials. If you have that, you will be above 80% of websites that your competitors have. And you shouldn't worry about being too wordy. Sure, if I come and work on your website, I would remove a lot of words because you're probably using more words than you should. But if you stay clear, relevant, valuable, and trustworthy, you already won over 80% of your competitors. This is about words. The other part of a website is design. There, I also see a lot of things done badly, especially by designers. Like, people pay them money and they just take a theme that is already existing and customize it a bit. And the thing is, the theme that is already existing, a lot of them have issues with usability. They have slider carousels, which are harmful for interaction on a website. They rotate too fast to understand anything. Studies show people do not click on them. They have images that are there just for beautifying purposes, which is also makes your website unnecessary long page. Especially you need to think people looking at your website on more, so many issues that modern design trends brought to us. And I read studies over studies that say, no, this is a bad pattern because it interferes with natural reading patterns of the visitors and so on and so forth. And design, actually, that's the first thing people notice, which is ironic because when I work on a website, I always start with words. It did happen to me a couple of times where clients came and said, we have this kind of a wireframe and design, write words into it. And I said, I'm not going to do it. It can happen that at the end, we kind of see that it's kind of similar to what it's supposed to be. But I'm definitely not fitting the words into the boxes that you already created without understanding of the audience and the argument you're going to make. Because you need to think, okay, how would I persuade a person? And if you do not know that and you already painted, the walls of your house without taking care of the foundation, the house is going to collapse. So, with the design, the very first thing that people notice is design. And design is quite often untrustworthy. And there are so many things you can do to make it trustworthy. I don't understand why people are not seeing it. It's kind of odd to me, but I don't know. Maybe it's like my thing because I'm in it, and people are not, because if you're a business owner who is now thinking, oh my God, my website is not that it's supposed to be, don't beat yourself up. This is the majority of websites actually. Also, even people who have bigger budgets, companies come to me and we fix their sites, especially if you're not a copywriter, not a designer. Don't beat yourself up. Sure, you should educate yourself to know, because it's something that generates your business. You have to educate yourself to not be able to do it, but to understand, if you hire somebody, what the criteria are that you apply on the end result to decide whether it's good or bad, because it's not about being pretty. It should be pleasant to the eye, but a pretty painting and pretty website, it's completely different. All right. So things on the design side, because you are saying do's and don'ts. On the design side, you have fonts that are too large, that are blowing up the length of your page. You have white space that is used inconsistently, where you have huge amounts of white space for whatever reason, we don't know. You have fonts that are too many. You need only 3 sizes of fonts for page. So let's start from the beginning. For page titles, for section subheads, and from body text. Everything else should be either font number 1, font number 2, font number 3. When I see that body font is often 3 different fonts. Just for body font, you have a different font for testimonials. Then you had a layout of 2 columns. It suddenly has a very different font from a 1-column layout. Why am I saying this? It's not like I'm super picky. Every time you introduce a different font, it creates friction. And friction, you can imagine, is like a speed bump. So your prospect is reading, relaxed, concentrated on a meaning. Suddenly you have a different font. And their brain goes over a speed bump and says, 1 second, what's happening? And suddenly they are distracted. And the more you do it, the more they are distracted. There is good friction on a website. When you introduce, let's say, imagine if everything wasn't the same font, we had no friction, and this would be boring. They would just fall asleep. It's like going with a constant speed for hours. You will fall asleep as a passenger, right? So you need speed bumps to say, hey, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. So every time you are using different font color, different font size, different font styling, whether bold or non-bold or italic, or different font family, it's a friction. So think about it. When you introduce it, would you like to have a speed bump here? Would you like them to pay attention? Or is it just because your design theme was like that, or something that's like some technical glitch, or what is happening? If you have an image next to this text, you don't need to change the font. You already have a speed bump. You don't need 3 speed bumps in one place. This becomes then, too many speed bumps. They're getting shaken. They don't need this. So it's actually not complicated. And every time I work with a designer, I'm thinking to myself, why are people not seeing it? So whoever is listening to it, please, maybe rewind it a little bit and just note it down. Maximum 3 fonts, every different font family, font size, color is a friction. Think about, do you need it there? Do you need people to pay attention at this point? So yeah, these are my biggest pet peeves. Of course, it's also specific to a website. There are websites where I've seen, this is the only issue I've ever seen. The only occurrence of that issue I've ever seen is website specific. But if you fix that, it's already maybe 70% of stuff you fix. And when you do this, when you have this different highlights, the text that is highlighted too much, sometimes I see on one screen of a website, 2/3 of the text is bold. If you highlight too much, you highlight nothing. Highlight, it doesn't mean it's bold. It just means it's different to the rest. And if different to the rest means your regular font, you just highlighted the part in a regular font. Okay, last but not least, sorry, I'm just can't stop. Centered text. So many website themes come with paragraphs over paragraphs of centered text. The thing is, sure, you can center a subhead that is 1.5 lines. But the moment you start centering testimonials, which are 5+ lines, on mobile even more, the brain needs to find the beginning of the line from the beginning every time. The brain can't rely on the line to start at the same point. So it's super hard to read. Maybe it's funny to me that people complain about things on other websites, but the moment it's about their website, suddenly they become a different person. And they're like, no, on my website, I will do it differently, These other websites that irritate me, all these pop-ups and carousels and center text. Well, I hate all of this. This is so unpleasant to read. It just like gets on my, adds to my cognitive load. But on my website, I will do the same. Sometimes they say, oh, because the competitor has them. Another thing, your competitors, some of them also have no idea what they're doing. I can tell you. It happened to me twice when they came to me and said, we would like to have it like our competitor. And I knew that it's not working. And another page, they came to me with a page that I at first thought was awesomely designed. They say it's not working. And then I started looking into it. Even I thought it was great because it was just a first glance. But then if you start reading into it and you understand, oh, okay, now I understand why it's not working. So it's not at all the case that you look at the competitor pages and you are supposed to emulate them. No, you're supposed to objectively understand the principles of good copy and good design. And then you can go open the competitor pages and think, oh, wow, guys, you are really not that good that I thought, and then you feel better. You go to your website and you do it right. So I think this is important. Educating yourself, not comparing yourself and thinking whatever is pretty works. No, sometimes whatever you think is not that pretty works. Studies show that simpler websites convert better because people actually do not want all of these pretty, blinky, shiny things that you think they want. They want to quickly understand why they should hire you or buy from you compared to your competitors. This is their goal. How you do it, that's up to you. And sometimes leaving away all this blinking, shiny, pretty stuff, it's a better way to go.
Oh, I totally agree. And that's what I love about your writing and what I read from you on LinkedIn and your newsletter that I get. You just cut through. And I think that's the issue. You've got a way of seeing a website and the text on the website and clearly see what it means or what it doesn't mean. And so anybody who's listening to this, I think they need to listen to this a few times, get your book and sign up for your course, which I will be doing later in the year. Even though I've been in the marketing business now for 25 years, I'm still learning. And you've just given me a sharp jolt when I read your book and listened to you and tell me, well, I've got a lot more to learn. And I think you're right. You're mentioning you need to go back in and understand what you're offering and what the customer needs. And I think that's really, really good. So how does SEO fit into all this? Because, we need to know that we've got to use all these keywords and stuff like that. But how does that work with copy that's clear and focused?
Well, with SEO, the thing is that what I do, if we just leave it at that, because what I write, my projects are usually between 3 to 10 pages. And I write copy for sales pages. And sales pages are pages that help you sell in the sense of either making people know and trust you more and know more about your offers. So people who visit those pages are already interested in buying. Meaning I write homepage, about page, services pages, case study pages, contact pages. SEO, however, works with articles because if you have 5 pages on your website and you're in a competitive niche, you are not going to rank in search. As far as I know, I'm not an SEO specialist, so correct me if I'm saying something that doesn't make sense. So what I do for my website, because I don't like writing cold emails. I've never written a cold email in my life. I rely on inbound marketing, meaning I put out my content. I write articles that bring people to my site. And then they think, oh my God, who is this knowledgeable person? So I hope this is the theory. And they're like, let's say a business, this happens to me. One of the articles that is adjacent to my offering, how to create a website tagline, ranks well in search. And I had multiple clients, and I keep having them, that search in Google, how to write a website tagline. They find my article and they're like, oh my God, this was so good. This was so helpful. Who's this person? They start checking my website, my services, which are clear. Maybe even by my people who bought my book. This is also content marketing. This is also SEO. They go from this page that just ranked in search and buy my book and then become my clients or my students of my course. So SEO is there to generate traffic to your website. However, it would be super hard to do with just 5 pages. You would need a content strategy. You would need a topic clusters, and stuff like that. This is not at all easy. It's not like you just sit there and write whatever you want, because again, so many people are already writing whatever they want. Some of them know what they're doing and know their SEO tricks. So you also need to know that. And then you hope that people read your articles, and then you need to see that you give them doors into more stuff on your page, on your website. For example, on some of my articles, I offer a free content updates, like freebies, like a checklist, website checklist that makes sense to the person who is reading this article. I'm thinking, okay, what else they may need? If somebody comes and reads an article on, I don't know, lead magnets, like how to create a lead magnet for my website, I have a freebie that also gives you additional information. Or I have a website credibility checklist that is just an article, but it comes with an additional freebie. I think it's a spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet, that helps you fix the credibility issues of your website faster. And you get it when you get on my email list. So SEO is there to drive traffic to your website and either convert them to a customer right away, or let's say a potential customer, because if we're talking service providers, it's inquiry. If it's a product site that sells products, that may be a customer right away. Or in my case, actually both, to get them on your email list. If you would like to sell through email, which is also effective, because there you have even more attention on your stuff, because email inbox is something more private, right? Not everybody is allowed to email your prospects. And if you become one of the people who is allowed, then you're in a privileged position, better than them just looking at your website. And there you also have your chance to market. Of course, not right away. Of course, not blasting them with marketing messages 3 times a week. One also has a strategy. But SEO helps a lot. Without SEO, I wouldn't know how I would generate my inquiries. I hear people do it from LinkedIn. Yes, sure, I also got clients from LinkedIn, but to me, it's less transparent. With SEO, I see the statistics, performance of my website, and I was like, oh, okay, I see how many people went from this article to service pages, who converted, who bought like particular product, who downloaded a checklist. So I see also how SEO is working, how my articles are ranking. I also have a search function on my website, and I once noticed that many people were searching for the information on the about page, and I did not have that post. So I created it. It's also helps you to see, okay, what people want from you, because many people come and they like the content and they want to learn more. They can't discover it immediately. They use the search function, and then I say, okay, if I see that many people search for particular information, I create a post for that. I also like looking at data. So I'm also like data-based copywriter. I believe in data. I try to bring data to the opinion fight, if in case there would be any. And if I'm dealing with a website that gets amount of traffic that we can analyze, which means we have at least 200 visitors per page to analyze, that every visitor has no more than half of a percentage, influence, although it's still not ideal. Then we work with data, of course. Then we look at, okay, how are my visitors behaving? Are they taking the paths as I want them to take? Are they scrolling down enough? What portions of the website they miss? What portions they focus on? Are there some rage clicks, so-called? It's like they're clicking on something that's not clickable and stuff like that. So data is also super important. And SEO gives you more data because you get more people to your website. So it's actually very important, I would say. Though super hard to do, I would say also.
Okay. One of the things I think you write about is storytelling. And I think lots of people think, oh, we've got to tell our story. And you see it everywhere now, I think. What are your thoughts on storytelling?
Well, my thoughts is like, do whatever you need to convert a prospect. Do they want to hear a story? Ask yourself. If you are a therapist, if you are a coach who overcame the same difficulties that they are struggling with, they may want to hear a story. If you're working with people one-on-one closer, and they also buy your personality, like, as I said, therapist, life coach, business coach, then it may be important. But if you're a marketing, especially company, agency, or whatever, I do not think they need to hear your story. What they need to understand is that you are a likable and easy to work with professional. How you're going to achieve that? Usually it's achieved with putting people's faces on your page, having professional photo shoots and putting photos that have some kind of personality, but also look professional. Language in your copy, always staying clear, valuable, and relevant, but maybe introducing some kind of humor. It's not that easy to do because it may backfire. You may be doing it too much. But I once wrote a website. There is a video even on my YouTube channel if somebody is interested, how I used the words zombie apocalypse on a page for a piece of software. And a person let me do that. I was a one business owner. That was really cool. And I love this page to bits because it's super clear, but it also has personality. So again, what do you mean by telling a story? In my articles, in my books, I tell my story, but it's a paragraph, just a paragraph, not a page. And it relates to what I'm going to say. It's probably an analogy, a metaphor, I don't know, something that helps you understand what I'm saying better. There, I'm not trying to make you like me because with printed books and Kindle, it's more like, I see it as like a one-off thing. Many people just buy it once and never come back to my site, right? So there I'm trying to educate them more than, making them like me. I'm just of course I'm having fun because I would like to be authentic in anything I do. But there I'm just trying to teach them something in a way that is more pleasant than just grinding away, and stuff. And you also maybe need to think about, okay, select 3 words maximum that you would like your prospects to associate you with. So what is this? You can be empathetic, you can be knowledgeable, and you can be funny. That's, for example, me. I don't know if these are these words, but to me it's important that I'm, knowledgeable, empathetic, and funny, right? I would make jokes, but I won't go overboard. I empathize with you. I know how difficult it is if you're a small company taking care of your website yourself. And I'm, of course, knowledgeable because I believe that I know what I'm talking about. What are your 3 words? And then especially on your about page, because there you have a bit more space for talking about yourself. Think, how can I communicate these values that I have or characteristics of myself to prospects without telling them how much coffee I drink, what my dogs are called, and what is my exercising routine? How does this relate, what you just, figured out that you would like them to think, to what you're offering to them? Why it's beneficial for them that you are knowledgeable, empathetic, and funny. I told you, knowledgeable, I won't tell you any BS. Whatever I'm saying is supported by data in my experience. I'm empathetic. Everybody needs an empathetic person, whether it's a service provider or your best friend. I will understand your struggle. And I'm funny, and then you will have fun working with me or learning from me. How does what you would like them to tell about yourself within your story helps them in a way that with these problems? If it doesn't, leave it away. This is my point. I heard many people coming to me, no, but I would like to tell. Sure, okay, do. This is just my opinion. Of course, especially if it's important to you to say, I don't know, maybe some people would like to say, I don't work with companies ABCD. I also don't work with companies ABCD, but I will tell you when you write me an inquiry, I do not have to put it on the website. But if somebody wants to, they can, and of course it's your place. I can't tell you, don't do this, don't do that. Oh my God. You need to be happy with your website. But I also believe that there is a golden middle. When you are happy, your prospects are happy, your bank account is happy. It doesn't have to be one way. You shouldn't give up everything you like just to make your prospects happy. Then you're probably not in the, right business. Because then it means like you just hate your prospects. If literally the website that they would like to have from you, it's like completely something that you cannot stand behind. That something is wrong at the core. But if you like what you are doing and you're passionate about helping a prospect, there is a golden middle. To have a website you're proud of, but which is also attracting business, and prospects are saying, wow, you're reading my mind. I heard a couple of times about my website, stuff like this. Oh my God, we want exactly the style that you have on your website. or for my prospects, it once was, they said, I love this comment. It was just long ago, but I love it. They say, our prospects often write us saying, oh my God, guys, when we read your website, we have a feeling you understand us. And this is what you're going for. When they read your pages, they need to feel like you understand them. You understand their problem, right? And if you are passionate about what you do, then I think it's totally possible to do that, to have a website where they think this person knows what we need and they understand us. They are not trying to shuffle some solutions for success down our throats or telling us about their mission and vision and philosophy. They think about what we need, but this is the approach.
I'm coming to realize that there's quite a discipline involved now in the thinking that goes into it before you even start building a website. And I've been reading about strategy, a fabulous book on strategy by Peter Compo. And it's made me realize I'm not very disciplined myself. I'm not doing this sort of thinking. And yet here I am running a marketing services company. I look after 18 websites. I do anything that's needed to do to them. And I'm thinking, I might need to clarify what it is that I can do for them and then just quietly go through and make sure it's all clean and tidy. But I'm working on 3 websites of my own. One is my company website. One is the Wisepreneurs website. And one is the podcast website that this will appear on. And I've just got to go, I've got to make sure they're working right before I can say to my clients that maybe we need to do some work here. But that's what I love about your work is you're very clear about what that is. So tell me about your course that you've got, because I've got a funny feeling this teaches people how to think like this.
Exactly, yeah. My course is called Business Soul Searching, which is a funny term. The process that it describes actually takes you through a process. I go with each and every of my clients, regardless of whether it's a website review project or a website copywriting project, to learn more about their business offers, their target audience, and the points that they are struggling right now in business. It makes us zero in on the target audience, understand who would be the ideal client, zero in on the offers to see maybe, okay, this offer I should maybe restructure, this offer I should ditch, maybe I should, simplify. And it helps you understand what your selling proposition is. You say unique value proposition, one big thingy, and multiple strong selling points, basically to answer a question, why hire me and not my competitors? Bonus of this course is also that you get a good head start about starting to apply all of this, because of course it's just the really first step. I call it a discovery phase actually in my projects. When I write a proposal, it's called discovery. What I do with my clients, I send them this questionnaire and then we talk about the answers in the sense of I ask additional questions. It never happened before that I haven't asked additional questions, because interestingly, even if you ask a person, what do you offer? The answer is sometimes not satisfactory to me. It's too vague. It's unspecific. Even then, I still don't understand what it is, right? So I'm giving my feedback live when I work with clients. This course is created in a way that you do not need me to give you feedback. We go through questions batch by batch, let's say 2 questions in a lesson. And before you answer the question, of course, you know the questions in advance. And then I tell you what we are looking for in an answer. What is bad example for this answer? What is good example for this answer? I think it has, I don't remember, 10 lectures or something, 12 maybe. And somewhere around lecture 8, maybe, I don't remember. Don't hold me to the numbers, but somewhere like down in the last third, the question is, what is your value proposition? If I ask anybody directly, what is your value proposition? They would be like, oh my God, I start hyperventilating. I do not know. But the thing is, up till that point, you answered so many questions already that guide you to this answer. And this answer becomes super easy to answer. This question, sorry. And I also show you what's bad value propositions, what does not constitute value proposition. Like I already said, being better, being cheap and stuff like that. What is good value proposition? What are we looking for in a value proposition? And I also give you a framework to create a value proposition that is pretty easy to follow. And there is also a module on comparing your website to your competitors. There, I'm not talking to you. You don't even see my face. I give you a spreadsheet and I tell you how to operate it. And then you go open the websites of competitors and you check for specific things. And then you understand, what are my competitors doing well and where do I need to match up? What they don't do well and where is my chance to stand out? This is a very systematic approach. I'm generally speaking a very systematic person when it comes to my business, not my house, because you shouldn't see my desk right now. This is not systematically organized. But when it comes to communication, teaching, dealing with clients, I believe in systems. I believe in systematic strategic approach. And I also believe in simplifying things. I see so many things being way too complicated, especially for people who are not going to pursue it as a profession. To take care of your website, you don't have to be a copywriter. You do not have to be a designer. You just need to understand a couple of things that are pretty simple. I would even say common sense, but you don't realize it, that once you heard it, you're like, oh, wow, this is actually common sense. But you kind of, in the beginning, you're just like, didn't get this idea for whatever reason, but like it totally makes sense. So this is like the course, coming back to the course. And at the end, when you answered all these questions, so you covered what do you offer, for whom? I mean, whether you work with companies, you need to we talk about companies, but in any case, a person who will be looking at your website, what problems they are dealing with. And the way we approach problems is also super specific. I will ask you to specify their problems in a very particular way where you're like, oh my God, I've never thought about it before. Actually, my clients love it because every time they're like, oh my God, you made me sweat. Oh my God, you made me think. And there are people who've been in business for years. Some of them take weeks to answer this, or if it's like a complex business. They take it to their, department of sales. They talk to sales and stuff like that. And they figure out together, although actually they're supposed to have those answers already. But because they don't have these answers, it explains why the website is not working. You need to know the answers first. What can prevent my clients from hiring me? How is my website a subpar to my competitors? Why are they choosing them, not us? Why hire me at all? Why? Sometimes people can't answer this question. They just think we are professional. Okay, great. Your competitors also. So what is your other selling points? And this is with selling points, it's really hard, especially if you ask this direct. If you look at the website, there are no selling points. And only you really need to dig deeper. You need to approach it step by step. First, understanding from the very beginning, what's the offer? What the problems? What are the objections? And then, you understand, okay, this is how I counter the objection. This is how I approach the problem. And then you dig out your value proposition, right? So this is the course that helps you with that. And of course, after that, after you collected all this information, it gives you the pointers, okay, where to start, where to put what answer. You have let's say, I don't remember, 20 questions. And what answer to which question goes on what page, basically. Plus, it gives you frameworks for homepage, about page, and sales page. Just really like a framework, like an outline that can be customized to your page. So yeah, this is actually, it took me 2 years to create it. Could have been done faster, but life. And personally, I'm happy I did it. I get also very good feedback. People are saying, oh my God, I've never thought about it like this, or it's one of the 5 best courses I've ever took. And this is also, of course, super pleasant because this is my mission and philosophy. Because I like helping people who do not have huge budgets to have a good website. Sure, I work with people who have budgets, but I also would like to help those who can't hire me to write their website. And just to show them that it doesn't have to be that complicated, actually. If you have time on your hands and, discipline and patience to sit down and understand it. If you don't have the money, but you have the time, sit down, understand it, you will be able to do it.
Yep. I totally agree. It sounds like I've got to do it sooner than later. Even though I read about all this stuff and I think about all this stuff and I put together programs and talk to people, it still is important to go through the disciplines. So I would think that a lot of us are probably just cruising along and not thinking about it. And then when it comes to crunch time, where do I find the help? And that's why I love what you've written. I love your book. I've taken lots of notes and I keep reading it through, and I've got the PDF. I bought that on your site. I really am strongly very supportive of what you're doing and really encourage people to listen closely to this and what you've been saying, and then get onto your website, buy your book, and do the course. And I'm sure it's going to help. It really will help. And it will improve lots of websites out there. Now, one thing you do mention, I think, in one of your books is one-page websites. What do you think of those?
Oh, yeah. Not a fan. Okay. There is an article on my website that is called 5 Reasons a One-Page Website Will Bite You in the Butt. Pardon my French. The thing is, probably people who use their websites as business cards, meaning, okay, you met somebody at a networking event and you gave them your card or you exchanged links, whatever. This may work. But if you're serious about attracting new inquiries from your website, it needs more pages. The reasons I will tell you. So first reason is that it's not prototypical in the sense of most of the websites in your niche are probably multi-page. So when a prospect comes to your website, they see all the navigation. They click service 1 and it takes them down the page. And they're like, what is happening? So they're already unpleasantly surprised. You should never unpleasantly surprise your prospect. Then they start reading. And because there is no end to the page itself, they may go from service 1 to service 2, something that is not relevant to them. With multi-page websites, when they are on service 1 page, let's say my operating services, they get to the end of the page and then they know they should need to make a decision what to do next. Send an inquiry, read something more, whatever. On a one-page website, you didn't tell them when that's time to make a decision, and they are just wildly scrolling through your website. Another thing is, if you would like to get inquiries from your website, you need to offer people specific information about your services and also back it up with testimonials. If you offer 2 services on your one-page website, you need to tell them basic things about what you do, what you offer and for whom. This is in your banner. Then you go with your services. The moment you have 2 services, your pages blows up. Even with one services, it's a bit more complex. And every service needs specific information and testimonials. It's already getting bigger. And then you need to have about section, and then you need to have a contact session. If you need case studies, if you start putting case studies on your one-page website, what we are talking, these big rolls of paper that they used to use in medieval times when the king was speaking, something like that. Nobody's going to read this. One-page website, to me, it's like a landing page. Landing page, you have one offer targeted to only one kind of awareness of a prospect. Let's say they're already middle aware. They know about the problems. They know the solutions exist. They would like to know why to hire you. Then you use a landing page, but then you remove the navigation not to confuse them, and don't call it one-page website. Website is targeted to prospects with multiple levels of awareness, to people who never heard of you and see you for the first time in their life through search. They found a blog post and they go to post. People who heard of you a couple of times on LinkedIn and finally decided to check your website. People from your email list who know, like, and trust you and finally would like to buy. A one-page website cannot do that. And last but not least, actually I think it's one before last, is that when you would like to optimize your website, you need to see what paths your prospects take. From homepage to services to about page to contact, for example. Or from this particular article to homepage to about page to service XYZ. On one-page website, you don't have that. The tools think it's one page and you do not see any audience paths. You do not know the time on page on the service part. You do know that, how long they stayed on the service part of your one-page website. You lose so much data that it's impossible to optimize, or it becomes very hard. Sure, technically speaking, you can do it, but then you need to go and do a lot of technical work in the background. Do you really want this? Is my question. And the knowledge for that, I think I would be overwhelmed. And I'm a former software developer and I do stuff like that on my website. But for you to track the engagement properly on this one-page website, to understand what part of my website, whether it's services, about page, initial part, whatever, they engage and how, and it's just not worth the effort, I must say. And last but not least, SEO. One-page websites do not rank in search, right? I think everybody who understands the basics of SEO, that you need Of course, you need backlinks, but you also need to show relevancy for a specific term. If you put everything about yourself on one page, it can only theoretically rank for one term, which is probably would be super competitive. And your competitors have websites with multiple pages, which are much stronger in SEO terms, and you're just not going to rank. So I understand the fact that it's compelling, especially when you're just starting out. You're like, well, I offer just one simple service. I'm a tutor for whatever language, and I just put one page, whatever. My question once again, do your competitors have one-page websites? Only in this case, it may work because your prospects are not spoiled, right? Obviously, they are not treated right anyways. Nobody in your niche is treating them right. So they're like, whatever, we will deal with one-page website. But the moment you have a competitor, they have a multiple-page website with service pages separately. For each service, they have a page with testimonials, with specific explanation why they should hire them. You lose. Your one-page website is immediately subpar, right? And who wants that? Nobody. So you just, and especially if your business is growing, what are you going to do? Okay, today you're offering one service. You decide to go with one-page website. In a month or like in half a year, you're offering two services. Now you have to redo your website. So why not do it correctly from the start? Even if you have one service. Rent over.
I have a client who's got a few websites. I look after one, which is a multi-page website. It's a medical practice. They have another medical practice, which is a one-page website. And I compared the two, and the one I look after loads very fast and works really well with the SEO. The one I don't is a one-pager, and boy, does it load slowly, very slowly, because it's full of pictures and everything, and it just is very clunky. And Google rates it very, very low. So technically, it can be a real dud if you're not careful. But they think it looks nice. But I haven't got the heart to tell them yet. Okay. This has been good. Is there anything else you'd like to mention? Because we're going pretty well on this.
Nothing comes to mind. I don't know what. Okay, let's put it like this. What's the biggest struggle of your audience? What would you say is with their websites? What would be the biggest struggle?
Oh, I think most of them don't think about it at all. They just want it to look pretty. The recent one, they just thought, it's looking a bit old.
Do they? I mean, they would like to generate business with their websites.
Most of mine are pretty established businesses. I've been working with most of my clients for 15 years or more.
So they're happy with their websites.
Well, most of them don't need clients through their websites because they've got enough clients. So the website tends to be more of a showcase.
That's fair. That's fair. I also think, if your business is running without a website, you don't need a website. It's not like everybody needs a website.
That's correct.
You need a website if you want to get clients from online.
I'm rebuilding one for a fairly big client. Most of my clients are professionals, but I've got quite a mix of clients because I'm a marketing services company. I've got entertainment venues, I've got medical practices, I've got construction companies and a whole lot of others. But say, for example, one of the entertainment with a 250-seat bistro where they serve meals, they get 3,000 visitors a month to the website. So they're quite happy with that. Another site I looked after is a children's site for Australian history, and they get up to 20,000 visitors a month. So it's mainly informational. They're not selling anything. They're just being helpful. Mm-hmm. And the construction site just reinforces that this is the particular product in the area. But their minimum charge is $300,000, so 150,000 euros. So they only need a few clients a year. Most of them are repeat clients. So the website just adds to everything. But since I've been reading your book, the one who gets 3,000 visitors a month, I've gone through and cleaned it all up, made it clear, got rid of the welcome. Well, it might be still there, but not featuring. And being very clear about what they do. And they're very happy with it now. They've just got to go and pay for some decent photographs, which will make it look a lot better. I think I've been very lucky with mine, but I'm now rethinking how I think about things since I've read your stuff because it's so clear. How would you like people to connect with you?
Well, it depends on what people want from me. If you go to my website, gillandrews.com in one word, you will find the information about my services there. If you would like to work with me, even if it's just to, first review your website and see what can be improved, and to go with me through this process that I talked with you about with defining a value proposition. If you would like to just follow me online, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn and YouTube. These are the two channels I'm active on and posting regularly. There's also a book we were talking about that is to be found everywhere, actually, where books are sold online: Amazon, Gumroad, Google Play Books, Apple, and stuff like that. You can check this out as well. And that will be it, because I'm one person business. I try not to spread myself too thin, and wherever I show up, I would like to show up in full capacity or as good as I can. So it's not too many places. I'm not on Facebook, for example. But otherwise, feel free to get in touch. You can just connect with me through LinkedIn if this is where you reside. Otherwise, just write me a quick note saying that you listen to this podcast, and I would be happy to connect.
That is fantastic. Highly recommend the book. It is so easy to read, and it's in nice little chunks. And you read a bit and you go, oh, and try and fix that. And that's what I loved about it. Well, thank you very much, Gill, for joining me on the podcast. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you for listening to the Wisepreneurs podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please consider subscribing to the podcast. And if you're feeling generous, buy me a cup of coffee to keep me going. Thank you.